How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. Let's give people a minute to come in here so that way we can be able to talk about this specific topic and issue. So that way you can be able to understand these things going forward and why everybody decided to collapse about talking about women and why you shouldn't respect these dudes. Whenever you run across them in regular life, after this point of that actually happens. Because you have to realize, you have to understand how these things work. And the only thing you have to do is just look at the video track record of people to understand. Like Obsidians right now have a live stream saying why I respect Cynthia G. It doesn't even matter what's being said during the live stream. It's just that these dudes keep being Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on you guys all the time. And you guys have to understand that the position that they started off in isn't the position that they're in now. And it's definitely not going to be the position that they represent going forward. So let's give people a minute to come in so that way we could be able to get the likes up and so that way I could be able to go through the Manosphere meetup and understand why we have an image problem. All right, so we're gonna get started here. All right. So, but before we go into the actual like Manosphere meetup, think back, way back, early '90s, right? Early to late '90s. They can't hear me. What? No, no, the mic was muted for most of that time. So think about the early '90s when NWA and gangster rap kind of took over the actual public image of like black people. Period. Like most of the R&B music was not about families being together. It's never been about that. They had to create a specific line of music to explain slash justify the outcomes that was happening in most communities. That's why it's called blues. What do you think blues was based on? What do you think the blues were about? The blues were not going around the Chitlin circuit talking about government issues. The Chitlin circuit was about talking about this specific female to other people who was going through the same issue. Even though back then you didn't have your productivity together, you definitely couldn't travel most places. Most people didn't have their money together to do that. So you can't claim that this is a new issue. There's a whole genre of music based on dudes going through this specific deal when it comes to the counterpart in society. That's why I saw no reason to bring counterparts onto the panel. There's no reason to bring them onto the panel. If most of their life experience is getting exactly what they want out of most men within the environment, how can you negotiate with a person like that? How can you negotiate with a person who got exactly what they wanted most of the time inside the environment itself? So now you have people who are like most people stand on the shoulders of giants. They stand on the shoulders of the actual generations that passed before them. What we're doing right now with this extraordinary opportunity is we're standing on the shoulders of broken children and broken women. That's what we're doing right now. We're not trying to give these people any type of information to actually move ahead. We're not trying to give these people actually information to actually get into jobs. We're not trying to get any of these people information to dodge specific things. We're bringing people onto the panel to try to make it look like things were okay all this time. The Thrill Is Gone, one of my favorite songs. How long ago was that song? Dirty Diana by Michael Jackson. What was that song about? In the 90s R&B that readily turned these dudes into sex craving monsters, that was only to feed men back into the same situation that they got out of in the first place. That's how that worked. You didn't need to be a skilled individual to get that stuff done. Then it became so granular. Yeah. That these things that was exclusively happening within the black environment start happening within the white environment. Yeah. Because it wasn't a black issue, it was an American issue. It was going to be able to sweep over all the other people within the environment at some specific point in time. It was just going to take a while. Like the issues that were happening in the 80s and the 90s when it came to crack cocaine actually went over to other communities when it came to methamphetamine and actual oxycodone. It just took a while. Same distribution centers, except for, it was a little bit less legal back then. But the same problem happened over and over again. So when you have people in 2022 trying to make it look like they found reasonable people to talk to on panels, trying to make it look like they found somebody reasonable to talk to about these things. Everybody didn't have infinite choice within the environment. That's why I never believed in the 80-20 rule. I've never believed in that stuff. I never believed in the 80-20 rule. Because there are guys who look pretty decent who go through the same struggles that any other guy who don't got any money go through. In the same environment that they claim is an 80-20 environment. The only thing you got to do is wait till a woman come in the chat and announce her presence. How many dudes throw kisses and all these kind of things at them? Remember, all these dudes supposed to be so much of a player, have so much access and all this stuff, but they're online acting like they don't have it. And that when a woman walks into the room, all these dudes are just thirsty ass dogs, man. They don't act like they don't understand the things that are going on. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying the environment is rife with older women who are awash in young male attention. They can't get this type of attention in their regular ass life, so they come online and they get it. Most of these people claim to be married, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, what type of man would let his woman come online and talk to random ass men to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Or what type of a wife would let a dude stay up to 2, 3 o'clock in the morning talking to such people? Now, the manosphere has never been that all the time. It's never been that way always. When I first got here, it's at least been 2022. I'm going to say probably about 2015, 2016 is when I got here. Let's say that there was a manosphere meetup in 2015, 2016. It wouldn't have happened, but that's when 2.0 really, was having a heyday. It probably would have been, even though they didn't get along, probably the people from 2.0 who actually claim that they're the leaders of the space. That probably would have made a whole lot of sense at that point in time. It would have made a lot of sense for those people to be those people, to actually have a meetup at that time. Because back then, the message was a little bit close together, even though during the night, overnight live streams on Saturday night from a very specific person, it kind of got split up into different groups. But the message was pretty much that there was a problem here. So let's say 5 years go by. You have new people coming into the space, new people who have been getting an actual platform to attack others that's been given to them by Bernard Riley and the Prophet of Thought series. And these people's cowardice have grown so much to where they thought they could do a manosphere meetup. The only thing they need was a dude with a big ass wallet to get it done. So they bring on this crackpot called Theo Waf, who has a career field that can't nobody verify. Because as much as I tried to find out about Amazon AWS, it seemed to be a pretty enclosed system. That's why there are no recruiters for it for the most part. Because you have to take a test in order to be inside of it. So if you claim to be a guy who makes $50,000 a month, if you claim to be a W-2 employee who worked for 5 different people at the same time, which I don't doubt that is possible, and you claim to want to help a specific demographic of men, but you don't have a channel, and the only thing there is of you publicly whenever you type in your name is the fact that you got taken for a whole bunch of money from somebody from across the border. Happens all the time. A hell of a lot more when you're not actually invested in the actual culture itself. Me, I have a woman from across the water. What's different? I'm actually invested with the actual culture itself. That's why I don't have to worry about these problems. And let's say that you don't have a track record. The only thing you are is a chat dude who drops a lot of money. No channel. People do interviews with you. It sounds sort of, but you look like you live in a 1-bedroom efficiency while you're doing these interviews. You have all these things going on about IT, but what's going on in the background of what you're actually speaking from doesn't speak to an actual guy who makes $500,000 a year. I have family in Austin. Whenever I go to Dallas, because I have family in Dallas too, and as well as San Antonio, I make it a point to visit all 3 of these areas whenever I go. I go there 3 or 4 times a year. mostly in the summertime. Only once in this sort of time period before like March. You start to get to know how these things actually work overall. So now you have a guy with no track record, a guy with no channel, a guy who's trying to bridge the gap of being taken seriously within a space to where he's clearly a Chad dude. Claims to be in IT, but it's never put together an actual meetup. So what he does, since he don't know how things work, he starts to bring people in that he thinks is going to benefit him. So he brings in a guy called himself Little Big Nate. A guy with a name like that, you really can't trust overall. But most of all, he intentionally lies about his conservatism, even though he lives in South Carolina. You've never seen this guy around conservative women. But somehow these people all think that they're conservatives because they don't like the black outcome of how things went. Newsflash. Nobody likes the black outcome, sir. No one does. Anywhere. No one is bragging about the outcome of people here. No one is bragging about that. The only people who are trying to make it look like they actually care about the actual conditions are the people who caused it in the first place. Most of these dudes actually thought that there was going to be a ride this horse into the sunset on some I hit it first shit, so that way you should be able to clean up after it. And if you don't want my leftovers, then something is wrong with you as a person. That's what basically the pro-black argument boils down to, that you have to go on a frog-kissing expedition to find people within an environment that has never respected most men overall in a condition to where they can't even be messed with on average. Yeah, I'm gonna go through that. Let's say that you're in Amazon AWS and you go to YouTube and you type in Amazon AWS. Amazon AWS has a whole channel that's free with labs that's free. Amazon said that they was going to train XYZ number of people from the black community over the next 5 or 10 years. There was a press announcement that was made by Amazon itself. But Theo Waf came in leveraging the fact that didn't nobody know anything about Amazon AWS. He didn't know that it was, well, he knew that it was an enclosed system, but he can't really prove that he's actually in that system itself. And he made it look like he had a course. So when we talk about the Manosphere meetup, the Manosphere meetup started off as a conservative conference for conservative men. All of these conservative men on this list, their whole issue with conservatism is they don't like the liberal black woman, but that's their destination point. You don't have to go through the actual, and they brought in people who didn't even mess with the Manosphere at all, like Minister Jap. Minister Jap don't really mess with the Manosphere like that. You don't see Minister Jap in people's chat. You don't see Minister Jap actually fucking super chatting nothing but hoes, because he's a bitch ass nigga, so that's what he's supposed to do, right? I got family in Chicago who know this motherfucker close up. Yeah. So if you don't know anything about the space or the track record, you think you're just gonna buy the face of people that you think are popular So that way you can present them some fucking bullshit that's not on tape, by the way. That could have been the actual first video on your channel, was the fact that you met up there with these people and you done this. If you notice, all of the actual pictures and video doesn't have all these people together in it. You don't see Theo Waf in any one of these pictures. You don't see all these people in one group photograph. If I paid for some shit out of my pocket, best believe you people are going to take a picture with me together as a group. All of you who's showing up here. So you have to ask yourself, why would there not be a group photo? Of all the video that you have seen so far, nobody looks pretty comfortable being in that environment. Everybody knows that this shit's a work. Everybody knows. Doesn't take a lot of background or even an actual person who can read body language to understand that once they turn the camera on, those people like, hey man, what are you doing to the camera, fam? Turn the camera off. What are you doing? Now, we don't have to go into Bernard Riley and what he actually does on YouTube. He presents the same content over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. People show up, they watch the same thing, and he responds to the same number of people. It seems to be growing. That's fine. So when you call yourself Theo Waf, putting together $35,000, because that's the tagline that's going out to everybody, because people are so fucking stupid and don't understand that what was going on in that conference room was not a $35,000 event. It wasn't. The $35,000 went to the actual individuals who he paid to come there because he could not garner an actual audience on his own. His money, he can do whatever the fuck he wants to do, but call it an actual Theo Waf event. Don't call it a Black Manosphere event. Don't go to other places like International Passport and call the shit an actual International Passport and a passport event / IT conference. You see, it started off as a conservative black male event, then it morphed into some other shit, and then everywhere he goes, he's talking about the same thing. So the event goes down. The event goes down, and guess what happens to Theo Waf after the event goes down? He's ghost. He's nowhere to be seen. He's nowhere to be found. If you did some shit on the behalf of the actual Black YouTube and you actually wanted to help people get into IT, wouldn't people be able to see what the hell you put out? So that way it could be cross-referenced by other IT people within the space about what you actually did. Now, Sub-Zero, it makes sense him showing up there. He actually lives in the city or near the city. And he went there to promote his very legitimate organization to which he actually represents for its IT shit. That makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is how come Theo Waf does not have an Amazon AWS course when he was kept making it look like he clearly did have one from the first beginning. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure where you got all those laptops from. Maybe you rented them. Maybe you required people bring them. But that's an expensive affair on its own, too. That is very expensive to rent laptops for a week. I know because I deal with the federal government doing similar things. That's a very expensive ordeal, especially for a week and especially for an event. So you have to ask yourself, why would a person put up 30 something thousand dollars of his money, if that even happened, when he doesn't have a channel, he doesn't have a course, he doesn't have a website, he doesn't have a voice? The only way he got his voice out after the Manosphere meetup is he went on to Reg the Bad Guy's channel to talk about how things didn't go right. The reason why things didn't go right is because you didn't plan it correctly and you didn't plan it for the correct outcome. Most of these people in this space who shouldn't be trusted say that the shit was a success. I understand why it was a success for Lil Big Nate. I understand why it was a success for Bernard Raleigh. I understand why it was a success for Surtice, Obsidian. They probably, most likely, was paid to go there and be a part of this thing. That makes sense for those individuals to claim that it was a success because they personally got something out of this shit when they went there. That makes sense for those people to claim that it was a success. But if you listen to the Theo Waf interview on Reg the Bad Guy's panel, you will see that everything didn't clearly go right. And he was the only person talking about it. Because remember, you had to dox yourself. You had to sign an NDA, apparently. Nobody talked about it after they actually went there. If something is clearly a success, I mean clearly a success, there would be clear goals. When they went to Georgia, they didn't get in contact with Vernon Jones. They didn't get in contact with anybody there. They didn't get in contact with anybody locally, politically. They didn't get in contact with the Republican Party there in the state. They run the state. The Republican Party run the state everywhere else but Atlanta. They could have easily put together a lobbying committee and lobbied one of those individuals to come speak at their actual event. They could have easily done that with $5,000. $5,000, you could have got somebody from the Republican Party to come there and speak at your actual event. It came out like, bro, you're conservatives. It was a conservative meetup. Then it turned into this, and then it turned into this. And then they said that it was for like-minded black men only. Then the actual event turned into it was open invitation after the event was over. Hey, man, name all the people that are in the Atlanta area that they could have had come up to this meetup. Name all of them. I don't know anything about the Atlanta area, period. But if you were putting together something trying to get people into IT in the Atlanta area and you didn't make it open to the public, remember, if you're trying to help as many people as possible, why wouldn't you make the shit open? If you spent all that money there, you didn't have any radio spots, you didn't have any TV spots, you didn't get in contact with a numerous number of black broadcasters in the area. There are too many conservatives in the area that are on the actual radio that could have easily showed up. Okay. Wasn't an open event? Wasn't an open event? No, they wanted like-minded people there. And what they did from the first beginning is they started removing IT people from the space to actually go to the event itself, which is your money. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But at the end of the day, if what you actually presented to those people in that actual place was meant to help everybody or to help as many people as possible, how come there's no video of that? Why there's no video of that? You went out there to be seen. You went out there to be seen as the Black Manosphere. That's why you took your ass out there. You went out there to be seen as the Black Manosphere. But the Black Manosphere has devolved into the relationship conversation. But let's say that you made it open to the public. Let's say you made it open to actual IT recruiters that are actually in the area who could have spoke there for free. You could have easily got in contact with any IT recruiters in the area and have them speak at your IT tech conference, but it wasn't an IT tech conference. You tried to present these things to different people about what happened there. And we are in this shit a month later. You would have thought these people's content would have changed out of the Manosphere meetup. The only thing it's done, it just has collapsed upon the male-female dynamic relationship, which I don't give a shit about. I'm not talking to no woman about her treachery within the actual environment itself. I'm not going to let some dude gaslight me into chasing after things that I don't need to be chasing after. Because I know that's not what the Manosphere is about. Period. I can guarantee you that Theo Waf did not know that Obsidian said that he's here for money. I can guarantee you that. Dude, they're looking at you like a goddamn fool in a lick. When you was on Reds the Bad Guys channel, you was explaining all that bullshit by yourself. They wasn't up there with you. You were up there by yourself. That's the problem when you don't understand the space that you're in. How many liberal women were there in Atlanta? Because you went to Atlanta to somehow meet up and do shit. How many liberal women was around that stopped you from actually meeting up and meeting with actual people in the area? If you're so conservative. You didn't meet with anybody in the area? You went halfway across the country to meet and go out to drink and hang out? This is why I say you represent yourself when you go out there, because the Black Manosphere is more than Black conservatives itself. The Black Manosphere is more than about the relationship conversation. It is. I can name about 10 business people in the Manosphere who live in the Atlanta area. None of these people was called to come out. When you started off the flyers, you started putting the likenesses on people on these goddamn flyers that didn't even know that their name was on the shit in the first place. Why? You wanted to skip steps and try to garner enough shit for people to go out there. I heard Little Big Nate talking about the shit was going to be $250 a head when the shit first began the planning for it. So, like, dude, I know about 5 IT recruiters in the area. 5 of them. Very successful, been out there for a while, at least about 10 to 15 years. If you would have told them about what this shit was about, they would have asked you for the actual guest list, and they're like, nah, man, I'm not dealing with this. Let's see if, hold on a second. Hold on a second. There are plenty of people in this space. Well, they did it. Oh, they did it. Oh, they did it. Dude, anybody can meet in a room. Anybody can meet and do all this shit. You look dumb as shit by not even understanding what you're supporting. You don't even know what happened there because you didn't go. There's nothing wrong with calling the shit what it is. It was a meet and greet that was paid for, that was mostly by the relationship industry. And there was a side of IT, passport talk, and IT. Imagine if you go to Golden Corral or any Chinese food restaurant. How big is the salad bar versus the rest of the all you can eat Chinese food shit? The Chinese food portion of the all you can eat, or the American portion of the all you can eat, is the majority of the actual all you can eat. You have to go past all of the fattening food to actually get to the salad bar. The salad bar in this situation is the passport talk and the IT stuff. So it was a bait and switch. It was a bait people in with the relationship stuff and people who you want to hang out from YouTube and try to stick them with some IT stuff outside of that. Remember, this guy Theo Waf said that he took 2 fishermen, one white and one black, from making $30,000 a year to $100,000 a year. Don't you think that if you had a channel that you could bring these people on to explain that to the public, along with your actual Amazon AWS course that you have not produced? It's cool that you went to go hang out with those dudes, but that's not why you go all the way to a state like Atlanta to go do that shit. Okay, if it's a Black Manosphere meetup, how come Angry Man wasn't there? Angry Man clearly said the day after the shit, he didn't go because he wasn't paid. You think that Angry Man is gonna let other people get paid and he gonna put his likeness on some shit that he probably don't even support and not get paid for doing so? That dude is damn right to expect a check. You're a lame ass fucking dude that don't nobody know. Of course you're gonna have to pay a lot of money to have those people to come out there like that. This stuff wasn't shared on community tabs. You wasn't brought on to these people's panels after you actually got done with the Manosphere meetup outside of Bernard Riley and maybe little Big Nates who don't have a channel anymore, who decided to go into another direction. This is what happens when you don't think shit through. Remember, you're not an SYSBM guy. You keep claiming that shit. You're not part of the passport gang. You keep claiming that shit. Don't nobody know you like that. You don't even have a channel, but you claiming this shit. And you're trying to pay your way through the Manosphere. Dude, it don't work like that. You a chat dude. A chat dude with no content who has to go to other people to get that message out. You have to ask yourself, who is the beneficiary of the Black Manosphere meetup? The people who got paid to show up there were the dudes who were doing that shit. And now you relegated to a chat guy. You're a chat dude now. Apparently you're on vacation. Still around the black female male relationship argument, and your ass is supposedly in Brazil. You haven't met no passport people out there in Brazil? Most of the people I talked to on the ground down there, they ain't even heard of your ass. Haven't even seen your ass anywhere in the city yet. Guys, the same thing happened to the black church before my grandfather had left it in the early 80s. How they had a good message, and then they thought that they can bring more people in by relaxing the standards of the people that they wanted around. My grandfather wasn't trying to hear that shit because these are the people that they never wanted around them in the first place. What's going on, Lonzo? He did say that, but I think if he was paid to come out there, I think he would have been. I think he would have been a little bit more agreeable with the people in the room for at least as long as he was in there. You guys have got to recognize, man, these people came here to make money off of our image. They didn't come here to fix anything. They came here to make money off of our image, period. The black male female relationship shit is a smoke screen to hide the fact that none of these people make any type of tangible progress inside of their own life. That's what this shit is. And now they're trying to hide behind black boys and all type of off the wall shit in order to get this stuff done. Responding to out-of-pocket women isn't a viable form of black male productivity. It's never been a viable form of productivity. It's going to be a viable form of productivity for very few people, but it's not going to help the entire whole as a whole. because they talk all this shit about mainstream. Because once you start making your issues mainstream, you're going to have to be responsible for an outcome of what you're actually talking about. So they wanted to have a conversation that was high enough, but not so high to where they would actually be responsible for providing some type of outcome or some plan of success outside of this. They did do that. They did do that. They did claim that we had an image problem. They claimed that we had an image problem, and you know how they tried to fix it? They tried to fix our image problem by being the next iteration of Oprah. That's how they tried to fix their image problem. After a prosecutor gets done prosecuting a criminal and that dude's in jail, the prosecutor has nothing else to say to the person that they locked up because they know why they locked them up in the first place. That is somebody else's job to go through the actual appeal process itself. You have to understand that the image problem happened because of a lack of focus on productivity. That's why the image problem was there in the first place. Because the MAGA portion of the population was the one making all the music for everybody else in society. They still wanted to ostracize the actual productive people within the environment because there was very few people who wanted to actually separate from that stuff. So they rode the back of black male problems or black people's problems so that way they could be the new iteration of people talking about the same issue. They want to be the next Sarah Jeffrey Raphael. They want to be the next Phil Donahue. They want to be the next Geraldo Rivera. They want to be the next all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't matter how many of these personalities that you create, you're still going to have the same problem if you don't steer clear of these things. Creating a cult of personality has never solved any issue for anybody overall. This is why most of the fundamentalists within the group get all the airplay when it comes to things happening within the environment itself. They don't even focus on the people who are actually practicing the things that they need to be practicing. All the airplay goes toward the people who are the most extreme when they go out there. So now Theo Waf has to pretend on his own because no one else is saying what happened there. No one else is saying what was done there. So now this guy's on the hook for paying for more Manosphere meetups, other places. This is what happens when you don't do things the right way. You don't go about things the right way. Now you got to be on the hook for paying for this bullshit forever, every city that you go through. Because now you're a lick. You're a clown. So now that everybody's going to look at you like, you know what? I wish Theo Waf come to my city so that way I can get some of this Theo Waf money. And the only people who are content creators who thought that shit was a success were people who went to the meetup who couldn't clearly explain why they was there, which is their free choice to be there, or people who want to be a lick on this shit going forward. Scroll on to go. But that's where we currently are, folks. People actually said that the shit was a success, but no points that were made, no people that were contacted. Like between those people, because the check cleared. The check cleared for them doesn't equal success for the space. Remember, you went out there to represent the entire space, especially in a place like Atlanta. Now, if your ass went to like, I don't know, Nebraska somewhere, it would make sense that you couldn't get in contact with IT people and all that kind of other shit. Dude, they got everything in Atlanta. There's no reason for you not to have the shit open to the public. Remember, if you wanted a whole bunch of people to be there, you should have just made it open to the public. And how did they know that shit was going to be there if you didn't have any radio spots anywhere? Any TV spots anywhere? No social media messaging. Nothing has happened while your ass was out there. You could have done that shit for a couple $100. There's truly no rationale for the things that was accomplished. In 3 days, it's going to be January 6th again this year, a year from the actual attempted coup in the government that was planned by the last president. You ever heard any of these conservatives in this space even talk about the issue? That's why there's a problem with people trusting us. Whenever you get a voice, you be on the same type of bullshit to build a code of personality rather than fixing problems. A code of personality fixes your productivity issue. It don't fix the entire situation, because I think these people like shit the way that it is. That's what all fingers are pointed toward. Liking things the way that it currently is. They want the woman to be in charge of making the family decisions, just so that way they can get some in-house out of it for as long as it lasts, and they don't care about the consequences. Because the moment they're not producing, it produces a whole bunch of activity for them to complain about the issue that they got into in the first place. And then they complain about the woman that's not really loyal to them, because why the hell should she in a situation like that? You see, the space was supposed to be a place where we came to solve problems. It was not supposed to be a space where we just invited women back onto the panel to have a conversation with them about shit that we already know that's the problem. Don't you realize you can have as much as you think you want to have having your shit together? Focusing on what women doing has nothing to do at all with what you're supposed to be doing as a man. I keep saying that shit. Sports Center for broken women ain't gonna fix shit for men, period. It ain't. And you got to give it to them. They expect failure on a very high level. That's why you see people trying to invite expired hoes on and have a conversation with them about what? About what? You know what the problem is? They want to feed you directly to your baseline desires and watch you eat yourself alive, trying to find excuses for you to tune into this bullshit. That's what it is, man. Your own people. Again, that's what the problem is here. And they're so sure of themselves that they don't even want to discuss it with anybody. They can't debate this shit. They don't even want to debate it. They're not even trying to debate it at all. That's the problem that we have here. That's why I keep saying that I'm not sure what was accomplished there or who was accomplished for, but it wasn't supposed to bring or build certain type of men going forward. It wasn't supposed to do that. So hold on a second so while I play some of this stuff. So that way you can hear what was said before the actual meetup took place and afterward shortly. Hold on a second. Okay, so you don't think these people are here for money? I'll play it for you. This is the guy who was in charge of the guest list.
I'm building an incredible channel and making thousands upon thousands of dollars with it. What are you doing with yours, loser?
That's the guy who was handling the guest list. That's the guy who was handling the guest list. That's what he said. He said that. He said that. That guy said that. The guy in the upper left. That guy said that. That guy. That guy said that. Let that sink in. So now we're going to go to the trailer for the actual meetup itself. Because you keep thinking that these people are here for some type of success. It's fine, man. It's you know what, hey man, you know what? His wardrobe choice, it doesn't outweigh his actual message that he was trying to put up. in the first place. So that's for $5 super chat. So now that we heard what he said, what his actual thing was. No. That is an actual picture of him.
Tell the truth when you know. I don't know when you. You know, it's funny. Everybody says that. You know, the thing.
Okay, so let's see what the Black Manosphere meetup was about by the guy who I just had on the screen. So that way we could be able to see what this Black Manosphere meetup was about.
Party. This is not a bunch of photo ops. This is an opportunity to deepen friendships that have already been established in the manosphere and to begin the process of establishing business relationships between like-minded Black men.
Yeah. Like-minded Black men. Like-minded. Like-minded Black men who wanted to talk about the relationship issue and try to stagnate the entire culture into picking people that shouldn't be picking in the first place. I mean, if at least you're going to have the actual relationship conversation, you should be steering men towards something. But actually having the sports center for the actual outcome of these or what these people are talking about, bro, that doesn't fix any problems. And trying to make it look like you're helping the younger generation by doing stupid shit, like, dude, this doesn't help anybody. It's never helped anybody. It doesn't even help the women either. It doesn't help the women try to get productive dudes. It don't even help them out. You guys have got to understand it. If you don't understand these people's end goal before they actually go out there, you really think you see Minister Jap on any of these people's chats and panels and super chatting and all that shit? You don't see that. Why? He got paid and he's out of there. But this is the sociopathic thing about most Black men, and that's the problem. That's where we at, folks. And now I will take questions from the crowd. Now, I have been asked a whole bunch of questions by email, and I will answer them right now. No political candidate was the guest speaker. I mean, shit, you probably could have had Captain Crunch before, before you had anybody else there. So now, I've been asked some pretty good questions about this meetup, believe it or not. So one of the first questions that was asked to me behind the scenes were, okay, MOT, are you mad that you wasn't invited? Okay. Okay. I mean, the first thing is that it was different things at different times. There was a conservative meetup, then there was a passport meetup, then there was an IT conference, and it's kind of like it was way too much going on. And then, like, why would you say it was all those things, and then you invite the black relationship industry into the conversation? So it's like there was too much going on because there wasn't any type of focus for meeting there. Knowing how much that we have an image problem as it is because of, the MAGA class wanting to run the actual black environment. So we solved that issue by having people who are here to make money off of the environment be the actual people who wanted to meet. So it didn't make any sense. So it wasn't that I wasn't invited that was a problem. It was just that what they were trying to do wasn't going to work because there was no real point of order in people meeting. That's why I call the meeting contrived itself. Let's look at the definition of contrived together. This is why I called it a contrived event. Hold on a second. Let me make it bigger. Contrived, deliberately created rather than arising naturally or spontaneously. Created or arranged in a way that seems artificial and unrealistic. That's why I called it a contrived event. Because naturally speaking, the relationship industry would never try to sneak into an actual IT conference, or the relationship industry that focus on domestic women wouldn't be trying to sneak into an IT conference. That's why I say these things doesn't make any type of sense. So, for that question, which is a pretty good question, no, I'm not mad that I wasn't invited. So that's why I wasn't. I wasn't mad that I wasn't invited. It didn't make any sense, and I probably would have said no if I would have seen the guest list. If I would have seen these people were showing up, I don't go cross country to meet up with relationship industry dudes and maggles and clowns and plantation minstrels. I don't have time for that shit. The actual next question I got, I mean, you can think what you want of it. Obsidian have said this twice that I've heard that somebody have sent me. He said, if you don't like what was going on at the meetup, come up with your own meetup. Okay, that makes sense. That's a legitimate criticism. But I'm like, look, I don't need to meet up. My actual channel is the meetup. It is a place where we talk about progress. It is a place where we talk about getting your shit in order. It is a place where we talk about not really focusing on women and getting your shit together as a dude. So there's no need for me to fly people all the way to Denver, Colorado, or even Mississippi to talk about staying away from women when I can do this shit online. Like most of the things that happened at that meetup could have easily been done over Zoom. That's why Zoom was created. That's why they had meetups online. Like, dude, that's why they have a lot of these things. So yes, I don't need to actually gather people to bring them to an actual environment. I'm actually trying to help them online. I have a year, 3 years. This is year number 4 track record of trying to get men focused in the right direction. And it doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. At the end of the day, most men, if not all of them, can actually benefit from my actual message. Of leaving things alone, focusing on your productivity, and not giving it away to the wrong people. So I don't need to create a contrived meetup. And it's not like he created the meetup. Someone else paid for the entire thing out of their own pocket. So when Obsidian says, well, what if you don't like it, create your own meetup? Dude, you didn't even create that meetup. Theo Waf paid for the whole entire meetup itself. What's going on, D-Rail? So that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like you didn't pay for the meetup. It would have made sense if Obsidian paid for it. He's one of the quote unquote so-called big 3. It would have made sense if Obsidian would have paid for the entire meetup. But somebody else came in to be an angel investor to do that. And then they brought all the wrong people out. I mean, he probably paid $30K to the people who came to the actual meetup itself. No one believes what was going on in that conference room was $30,000 worth of shit. Nobody thinks that. I'll say, for the sake of the people who were there, I'll say he probably put in 10 to 15 and paid all the money to the rest of the people. I just don't think that those things happen like that, man. Yeah, I get it. But all right. So when we planned our 25th class reunion, we were at 3 different places in the city. And that shit still didn't cost like less than 10 grand for like 80 people. That shit costed less than 10 grand for 80 people. 3 different places. I'm talking about deposits, food, decoration, all that shit. It didn't cost anywhere over 10 grand for 3 people. Over, I think, like 3 or 4 days. I don't think it costed that much. Not over 10 grand. No one thinks that this guy put up 30 grand to have that type of output. Like, there was no podiums, there was no setup, there was no decoration, there wasn't shit. Yes, the tables and the chairs come free when you rent those conference rooms. They do, they come free when you rent the conference room. They're sitting in the back. Because if you would have panned the camera over to the back, you would have seen several tables and chairs still there. $30 grand, bro. Listen, man, bro. Listen, they could have had any number of people come out there. Listen, man, bro. Like Atlanta got a lot of has-been celebrities in that motherfucker. You could have gave somebody $1,000 and they would have showed up there. Some has-been R&B person from like 10 years ago, they could have showed up there, spoke at the actual event. You could have made that person the actual spokesperson for the actual event itself. That person could have shot the trailer for you. All kinds of shit. 30 grand? Bro, listen, man. Dude, you talking about 30 grand in Atlanta. You could have got some black people to come out to do that shit. Yeah. That dude will show up to anything. That's something that I do know. That dude will show up to anything that is black and positive. That dude will show up to that shit. He will. All them record companies out there and shit, bro, there ain't no way in the hell you couldn't have got nobody to come out there. Listen, they could have paid Thomas Sowell to come out there, $5 grand to come out there to give a speech. They could have paid for him car service and actual hotel. He would have showed up for that shit. Actually, most black conservatives would have done that shit. All those producers and rappers and singers and shit out there, Atlanta. Like if you're gonna go out to Atlanta, that's why you go there. All the talent is there. You could just invite somebody on. Hey man, we need you to give the keynote speaker at our conservative black male event. They would have showed up like a motherfucker there. I'm talking about people who are still popular and actually, I'm telling you, they could have paid somebody $5 grand at least to come out there and actually be the mic guy, the MC guy, or any of that shit. They could have at least did that shit. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, bro, listen. This isn't about talking shit about the dudes who actually been there. It is about, especially that guy, Herschel Walker. They could have invited Herschel Walker and gave him a $5,000 check. They knew he was running for Senate. Herschel Walker could have came there for $5 grand and gave a keynote speech at that conservative black male meetup. He would have showed up to that. A $5 grand? He would have showed up for that. $5 grand for an hour to kick off the conservative black male meetup. He definitely would have showed up for that. $5 grand, a $5 grand check written to his actual campaign. He would have showed up for that. I don't know about T.I. T.I. would have looked these dudes up and be like, nah, I'm not coming out there. But that's what I'm saying, man. Come on, D. Rail. That dude all the way in New York, man. Don Lemon wasn't flying down there to, well, you know what? He may would have flew down to Atlanta. Who knows, man? Dude, there's too many people that live in Atlanta for them not to invite no celebrities out there. That's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, when you meet up for some nonsensical ass reasons, man, people gonna tax your ass for that shit. Trey Young. Oh my God. Yeah. You know what? Buster Douglas would have been a great speaker for that actual event, man. But that's what I'm saying. Dude, listen, if you're going to go to a place with that much talent, you can't bring untalented people from outside of that shit to there. Hey, you know what? She probably would have went out there for 10 grand. Oh man, he actually still stay out there though. Yeah, he actually still stay out there. I know he sold his place, but he actually do live out there now. Actually, man, Future could have been a good speaker for them. Like, bro, listen, man, like you got HCBUs in the area, not even 5 or 6 hours away. You could have easily Vernon Jones, yes. HCBUs, not even 5 or 6 hours away, dude. You could have got the class president to invite people to an actual event. You could have simulcasted this shit on all channels on fucking YouTube, but you didn't do any of that. You did none of that, sir. Yeah, man, like CJ Pearson actually lives in Atlanta. Or it's actually at one of those schools in like Alabama or some shit. Yeah, they could have easily got CJ Pearson to come out there. Nah, I don't think Tommy would have showed up to some shit like no. Actually, you know what? If they would have paid him 5 grand, I think he actually would have. Then he would have went on the show talking mad shit about these motherfuckers after this shit was over with. I would have trusted him to do that. That's what I'm saying, man. Now he's on the hook for paying for these goddamn meetups across the country to prove that the actual Atlanta shit wasn't a failure. You see, when you put together a contrived event and you don't know what the hell that you want to do, but you actually just want to be seen around these people that you would never be able to get in the room. Oh man, Diamond and Silk would have showed up for $5,000. I guarantee you, Diamond and Silk would have showed up for that shit. Diamond and Silk would have showed up to that shit. But actually, they said no conservative women allowed, though. Well, actually, no women overall allowed, but especially not conservative women because they're not interested in these type of dudes. You know what? I think Jesse Lee Peterson would have probably showed up for 10 grand. I mean, Jesse Lee Peterson would have been probably the best person to plug into because, truth be told, off camera, that is not a dumb guy. That's a really good business dude and actually a guy who know how to put together nonprofits and shit. No, of course not. Colin Powell wasn't acknowledged. They never covered anything that was happening in politics at all. No politically organizing on the conservative side because they like the black environment the way it is. I mean, just nothing happened, man. So they think they could just ignore the actual reality that you met in the name of a space and nothing actually happened. You know what? I don't know. No, I don't think there was a dating coach who was a keynote speaker. Like, I don't think Bernard Riley. I don't think Mr. Jap is. No. Sir Tice. Little Big Nate. No. Hey man, look. Michael Steele would have did an actual video conference for $5,000. I guarantee you, Michael Steele would have been able to do a video conference for $5,000. I think Tim Scott would have done a video conference an hour for $5,000. Deion Sanders, I don't know about that. He probably would have came to Atlanta, but I don't know if he would have came in there for that type of stuff. Oh no, man, that Papados is the shit. They got a Papados in Denver. Papados is the shit. That brunch, that's where all like the Broncos and the Nuggets and dude, if you want to see somebody famous, you go to them Saturday morning brunches at Papados, man. That's where they charge your ass an arm and a leg to get in that motherfucker. Armstrong, yeah, King Randall, yes. King Randall is in the area. You mean tell me that you couldn't get King Randall out there? You could have gave that dude $5,000 donation to his actual school or whatever it is he's doing over there. He could have easily been able to come there or even be there via Wi-Fi. He would have did that. Yeah, I don't see Nick Penn in here. So if y'all talking to him, he must have me blocked or some shit. I don't think Umar Johnson would have came up there with that. That's what I'm saying, man. It's just that, look, y'all went up there for a reason that didn't make any sense. And that's just what it was, man. It's just that next time, man, plan this stuff out more, have more legitimate people, have a streamlined reason of why you're going out there. And no, Ali is not going out there because they denied all women from going out there. So, yeah, that never would have worked. I don't know. You really think Creflo would have came out for $2,000? I don't know, man. Hey, look. Hey, man, I don't know. You know what? I think Larry Elder would have flew out there. Larry Elder could have easily, but see, you don't need people to actually show up to an actual event. You can just open up a laptop, open up Zoom or some shit, and just have this person on. That's what I'm saying, man. Like all this stuff could have been done over Zoom. I mean, you didn't accomplish shit anyway, except for met in a room with a whole bunch of people. Nobody know what you talked about and shit. That's what I'm saying, man. If that dude had like $1 million jet, man, there ain't no way. No way that dude would have came out there. Kim Klasick, she probably would have did it by Zoom or some shit. But see, that's what you. But see, this is the problem that you run into when you start excluding people. Hey, look, Angela Stanton King, I think, is actually in Atlanta. Actually, I think she's in Atlanta, and I think she would have showed her ass up there for $5,000. I think she would have showed up for that shit. I think she would have showed up for $5,000. I really think she would have showed up for $5,000 though. I think she does live in Atlanta. I think she would have showed up for $5,000 though. They could have easily got the Republican person who was running against the replacement for Keisha Lance Bottoms to actually come out and speak at the actual event itself. I think they should have did that. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, straight shooter. That's what I'm saying. You know what? Colonel West would have went out there for $5,000. Colonel West would have showed up there for $5,000. Colonel West would have showed up there for $5,000. Dude, Jason Black ain't showing up to no shit like this. Hey, look, I don't think so. That's what like straight shit. Look, like what I'm saying is all these people could have showed up via Zoom. And that's what happens when you got people who can't even talk about what they showed up to. Because they could have did this shit, but those people want to be seen and known for going there. No, they could have dug up his gravestone and like put it in the actual meetup. No, they could have did that. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, bro, like a lot of this, like, did we talk about 30 grand? 30 grand? Bro, you could have got a bunch of people from a lot of places to come out there for 30 grand. You could have got people to swoop through for $500, $600 probably. You could have fell through any one of these record labels. Like, which one of these broke ass motherfuckers can come out here for $1,000 a night? They would have showed up. I'm telling you, they would have showed up. They probably could have got Casey and JoJo out there for $5,000. Like James, I do too. I rock with real, actual conservatives in real ass life. Dude, they sound like black nationalists, if anything else. You could have easily got some of those people to come out there, man. But you can't say that you spent 30 grand and this is what you got out of the shit. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, bro, listen. You went out there for some contrived ass reason and nothing got accomplished. The dude said himself, man, that, hey, look, I'm here to build a channel and make money off of it. And then he said that, like-minded black men who's trying to make money off of these problems. Like, they're not trying to get you past these issues, man. And you got to realize that as a person. I mean, he spent 30 grand, but he's probably spent it the wrong way. He spent it on the faces when he should have spent it on the actual topic of discussion itself. Anti-gravity 74. That's the guy who do coding every Friday, multiple times during the week. Very good channel. Small channel, but very good channel, man. Some of the best conversations on YouTube happen in the actual small channel. I got to have you on, man, to talk about the IT journey because that's what we need to do now. We need to talk about the IT journey so that way we don't get people disillusioned about what it's going to take to actually get into these career fields so that way they can get properly invested in these things, man. Because a lot of these people are just sitting here on some nonsense trying to sell you this dream that you're not going to be able to cash in on. Yeah, man, like you can't be sitting back just waiting on these things to happen, man. You got to pay to get your video on World Star, man. No, man, that stuff ain't free, man. I mean, you gotta pay to get your video on WorldStar. Does Ja Rule live in Atlanta? They could have got Ja Rule for $5 grand. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Bro, listen, you could have got somebody on Zoom to be there for 10 minutes and been out of there. Hey, look, if the Manosphere meetup was this weekend, hell yeah. Like, my Antonio Brown would have taken off his jersey. He would have took off his suit and pants and ran out the event naked. That's what he would have did. But dude, you have to realize, man, bro, listen. These people are businessmen off of our problems, man. They're not trying to solve no issue. The issue is very simple, man. The opposite of this shit, get your shit together and keep it to yourself. That's what I'm saying, dude. Listen, they could have had these people on there 5 or 10 minutes. They could have brought them up on the panel, one after another after another. They could have had 5 people kick off the thing appropriately, and then they could have did all this other shit and nobody else wouldn't have known about it. They could have did that. They could have did that. I think Candace Owens would have did this shit for $5 grand, a couple of minutes, $5 grand. Talk to some conservative men that they thought they was conservative, congratulating them on meeting together and actually organizing for whatever reason that they organized and got out of there. I think that would have worked. Well, there's really no difference. There's no difference. The person is still there. There's really no difference. The fact is, they're at their event. So look, man, you can't expect these YouTube dudes to be leading your goddamn life, man. Bro, listen, there are all types of things you can do within your city without waiting on the relationship industry to lead you anywhere. They're trying to lead you back to the wrong type of person. Why would they lead you to anything else better than that outside of that? I think Robert Johnson maybe would have did it for free if he had enough advance notice. But he would have looked up all these people and seen what they were about. And I don't think that he would have actually done that. I don't think he would have done that. Because they would have asked them, why are you meeting in Atlanta? And they would have went through these people's content and they would have been like, nah, man, fuck that. And it's not even clowning them. It's like, bro, listen, people who are looking at this actual thing, and if you actually want to fix the image of men, you got to go out there the right way for the right reason. You know how many mega churches there are in Atlanta? You know how many pastors there are in Atlanta? You could have called anybody up from these Christian radio stations and shit. They would have showed up, man. They would have showed up and brought their congregation out there. They would have done that shit. What's going on, Ace? I'm serious. They would have came out there. But doxing yourself and doing all that stupid ass shit to show up to this, nah, man. I cannot remember an actual event that I actually been to in the actual convention center Well, I actually had to. Well, you had to sign the guest book, the guest list. But you're just signing the guest list. You're not printing your name. You're not putting your email address. You're not putting your actual phone number. Any of that stuff. It was a success, man, because the check cleared. The check cleared. It was a success for the people who got paid. It was a success for the people who met up with these YouTubers that they didn't see in real life before that. It was a success for those people. I mean, it was a free event. Why wouldn't it be a success for the people who showed up? I just don't think that people just show up out of nowhere and pay for actual things like this, man. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on to Man of Tomorrow? What's going on, man? Yeah.
Hold on a second.
I lived only 5 hours away from that meetup. That was crazy. I was only 5 hours away from that whole meetup thing.
No, but see, you're a conservative, and you can't come.
You know what's crazy? I know a lot of conservatives from colleges, local government, grassroots, community, men's groups, VA centers, VFWs. The stuff that a lot of conservative men would have gone to. It blew my mind that none of them were invited to go there.
But they wanted a meetup where they didn't have to be responsible for what they talked about, or anybody can talk about what they actually talked about when they were there. There ain't no meetup. That's a secret meeting. I'm cool with it, man. Just don't call it the Black Manosphere. That's it.
That's what blows my mind. Because if this is supposed to be a conservative thing in building better men, and I'm all for conserving men's rights to build a better tomorrow. Or
sure.
I love for me, I always go to from the men's homeless shelter to the men's trading center, where that seemed like that would be a big recruitment area. I would think so. If y'all ever want to talk to some good brothers, go to the job center where a lot of men go there for voc rehab. I promise you.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine.
Got in contact with any of those churches, man, and had people come through, man. I don't believe it.
That would have been if anything, was my granddaddy and a few ministers. There's a lot of no church would have passed up black, especially in Atlanta.
No one would have passed that up. I'm telling you, man.
No church would have passed that up. They would have came out there. They would have put it on their church site. Hell, you probably would have got some old lady to cook for y'all some hot dogs.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, this is a blown ass opportunity because you invited the wrong people. And you have because some of the stuff that I've seen talked about there, it's still some pretty good topics, man. Like I'm not gonna take that away from them. It's just that you brought all the wrong people out to the wrong venue to do the wrong shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If people wanted to bring up equipment, now here's the funny thing about it. Because of everybody knows how the delicate sensitivity of how bad it is for black men. What if I were to tell y'all there would have been certain schools or programs in Atlanta that would have donated the equipment?
That's what I'm saying, for free.
I kid you not. I'm a living testimony. If you would have told them, hey, we're doing this to help black men, like with tech, dude, they probably would have gave y'all a projector and some equipment for free. to use for that. And hell, they would have hooked it up for y'all and ran it for y'all for free. They would have ran it for y'all for free just to see y'all get it off the ground, and you probably would have saved the money.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, dude, if you're doing
and they would ask
something,
you when you coming back. They would say, "Man, tomorrow, when are you coming back? We can help y'all do this again. Hell, we'll probably get you some sponsorship."
yes, that's what I'm saying about when you ain't got no connections in the city and you're trying to do something like this. Okay, I haven't even brought up the nonprofit organizations out there that could have brought a whole bunch of shit in for free. I haven't even brought up the nonprofit organizations.
Yep. There's a lot of artists around that time.
That's what I'm saying.
There was a lot of artists. Hell, that I know that are B-list, C-lister artists, rappers, gospel singers, people that literally that hey, I produced this or I did this. They would have came out there. Like it's not hard. Like hell, shit. I'm just saying, man. Like the thing about it is to show a solidarity of agency that you have a backing of support. Y'all, that's what that's what I've seen other groups they do. They tell other people, hey, this is for kids. Hey, this is for women. Hey, this is for dogs. Hey, this is for that. And people start donating or start saying, hey, how can we help out? What can we do? So, especially with this political environment going on, we just had it. We just now had it where a guy, he's going to be donating a shuttle to take a few brothers to the community college, free tuition to go get their CDLs.
That's what I'm saying.
As long as they show it to, he'll take them there.
Like, bro, listen, man. They could have called any number of limousine companies in the area. They could have donated their services. They could have donated a party bus for them dudes. Like, dude, it's so much stuff that they could have did, but they don't know how to put this stuff together because they was trying to do shit the wrong way, and they was trying to. I mean, but the event just kept morphing from the first beginning.
Yeah. I like I said, do I have a problem with men? Or I don't think nobody here will ever say that that there's a problem with men learning tech.
Oh, no.
Or anything. I don't have a problem with that. That's the first time I ever seen a guest list where you had to put down your actual name like that. And hell, and I've been doing security for years like that. Unless you're going to the presidential banquet, and hell, I mean, they don't even ask you to write down your name. They just literally just say your name of the person that you are.
Just sign the book.
Unless you're meeting the new president.
Okay, so just think about any BPM, business meeting presentation that you ever been to, that they actually required your name and shit for you to be vetted to walk into a free ass event. Like, no, they're not doing shit like that.
No. And I've been into some very critical for firearms, hell, for goddamn stuff. Once they know you're not by your name or your brand, or hell, even at auctions, you and I understand that when you have to go to auctions. Okay, take your seat. Hell, they actually only ask you for your number of who you are that you registered as. That's it. Your number, that's your ID for you just getting around. And then you can walk around with that. That could have, if y'all were doing so-called tech, y'all could have literally had just done that in a Zoom meeting classroom. If y'all were doing tech classes, that could have just been done on a classroom. Because honestly, it wasn't like I wrote a program.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the meetup is over, and there is no follow-up beyond that. Like the guy who paid for all this shit, he goes. All these other people, they moved on to talking about women and doing everything else. Like everybody just forgot about the actual deal that they even went to Atlanta in the first place. Everybody.
So there was no change. So it was no change.
No. It was a meeting of the minds, and people wanted to go in a different direction. And Youre is right. It could have been done on Zoom, but the guy who actually put this shit together, he didn't want to do a channel. I'm like, why would you go there, film some content of you teaching somebody something, but not broadcast it out to people that you claim that you want to help? Like, dude, none of this shit makes any sense, man. It just don't make any sense.
Okay. We imagine past the MOT. I come to you to get off of crack and goddamn gambling. You pray for me, you heal me, y'all baptize me. Soon as you get in your car and you drive down there to go get some gas, see my ass right there at the damn corner store, snorting crack and goddamn scratching lottery tickets. You gonna be looking at me like, what the hell did I do that damn 2-hour sermon for your ass? That was a waste of time. That was a waste of time. Shit, we could have just damn slapped your head and say you're healed, go away. There wasn't no change of a medium of the mind. It was just a minstrel showmanship. That's all that was. That literally, that's all that was.
Man, it's just crazy that, you know what? They probably could have got.
I don't know about
out of the governor's mansion to come there.
Probably got a retired government. You could have got a retired government official to come out there. You could have got a few retired government officials, law enforcement. You could have got a few people in local government to come out there. I'm pretty sure for $5,000, they wouldn't have turned the hell. They would have came for $1,000. They wouldn't turn that shit away.
You know how short some of these guys were, man. You know, Spud Webb could have came out.
Hey, I'm just saying. $5,000, $10,000, man. I could have done y'all a wedding at that hotel.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's why when you put the tagline of somebody put up 30 grand and all that kind of stuff to kind of get people to stop from talking about it, it's like, bro, people are going to question that, as they should. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with calling it the Theo Waf event, because it was a Theo Waf contrived conservative meetup mixed with Passport and IT conference and bringing all these relationship and plantation minstrels in there. It's like, bro, listen, have a specific and consistent theme and get it done. Let's say that I put on like a Manosphere truck drivers conference and I invited a whole bunch of relationship artists and all this kind of game dudes and all this type of stupid shit to a place. They're like, do you think something wrong with me?
Yes.
You think something is really wrong with? Why would you even invite these people there?
That's why I said what I said about. I'm trying to figure out who in that keynote speaking, other than Theo, was tech savvy.
Nobody.
So they all were all relationship people, all relationship talking people. That's why I said Obsidian. All he talks about is relationships and women in the market. Nate does the same thing too, and same thing does with Minister Jack. So that's all relationship coaches. There ain't nothing. I didn't. As I said, where was the tech at? Where were the tech people? I would then. You would have had me there if you would pulled out some tech content creators that literally were on the talking point. Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to break down that.
Hey man, hey Mike, like Jamal Mashburn is a billionaire, man. He ain't got time for no.
He probably think you want to hit interns out there. That's what he said. I'll be interns.
Jamal Mashburn don't come out there for that shit.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all could have got college students. Like, you know how many colleges are out there in Atlanta?
That's what I'm saying. Bro, that's what I'm saying, man. Bro, you picked Atlanta and you had a closed door conversation with people from the Manosphere where you could have made the shit open invitation. And if you wanted to launch your channel off that shit, like, bro, he could have did that shit. He could have leveraged Mr. Jap's audience and it was Bernard Raleigh and all these other people that came there. That dude would have been looked at as a hero if he did it right, but he did it fucking wrong. He did it, and he didn't have a product. He didn't have a website, and he didn't have a class to send people to. So he was just a chat dude who put on a meetup for everybody to come there.
He wanted to meet his heroes. He wanted to meet his heroes. That's all he wanted. Yeah. Say, I wanted to meet my heroes and have people there with me to meet my heroes. And that's the best way I could say it. It's like we're going to go fight Darkseid, but we tell the Justice League to stay home, and we take the Teen Titan and the dog to go fight Darkseid. And you like, what the fuck were y'all thinking? Like, we don't even take the Teen Titans with powers. We take the one that fight with fucking sticks and bombs and shit. We're supposed to make a bit with this guy. Like, are you serious?
And we're not even talking about the concept of meeting up. We're talking about people. Wow, Super Manosphere legends. Like Super Mario Brothers. Like, could you
I'm
imagine?
just saying, man, that was it. They called the Manosphere the Manosphere game legends, man. They called they summon
League of Legends, man.
Yeah, they called it. The non-resulting from ancient one. The same process, goddamn shit stuck in damn a loop. It's like Shepard stuck in a goddamn time loop. After a while, Shepard's like, damn, I can't get out.
But that's where we at, man. It's like, bro, if you're gonna do a meetup, Guardians of the Manosphere Galaxy, man, these people.
I'm telling you, but we didn't just do that. We didn't do the stream, man. They come. Hey. I'll give you a perfect example. You remember how Shepard got tired of talking to the council? Because after a while, he knew nothing was ever going to change. They were just going to keep repeating the same process. That was it. The Reapers are going to keep on reaping. They knew that the council was all they do is talk. Hell, the Reapers are actually running the goddamn area where the council was at anyway. They were already running it. So they were like, well, shit. Shepard after a while was like, hey, bro, better stop talking to the council, bro. Better stop talking to them. You better just go do it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, people need to understand that there's nothing wrong with meeting up, but it needs to be the right people for the right reasons. Like all this shit could have been done offline. All this shit could have been done, and nobody known about it. And if nobody known about it, yeah, he was talking about Mass Effect. Real Pain Dies.
Ha! Good catch.
So it's like, look, if your plan is not to change anything at all, it's best that nobody knows about your meetup, period. Because they're going to hold you to what actually happened and what actually changed at the meetup after the meetup's over and the actual content doesn't change.
You ever notice that whenever they have a guest show on the Saturday night show or the Super Bowl, they never tell you how much they spend.
No.
They never tell you. Because if it's a shitty show or something don't meet up the par, they can't say, well, you paid how much money for that? Or you paid that much money for Bon Jovi? Or Bruno Mars? Or this, that. You won't ever know how much they spend. All you know is, hey, this person came out. That's it. Hell, sometimes you have to guess who's coming out. Because they really don't tell you until at the end. So, I would
never
just follow
figure out
suit.
what that figure is. They never have broadcasted what that figure was. They never done it.
I wouldn't have.
Not for the Super Bowl halftime. They've never broadcasted how much they ever pay somebody for that shit. They've never done it.
Yep. I've never seen them ever tell how much they ever spend on the show, on the setup, on anything. Y'all can find it, let me know. But they don't even tell you how much they be paying the people. They don't even let you know.
Yeah. All right, man. It's been over 2 hours, man. So let me get up out of here. I just want to keep people in mind that this is not about the fact that people met. It's about the fact of what these people went back to after they went out there to Atlanta to meet. That's the problem. They used this dude who wanted to be used. Theo Waf wanted to be used for his resources. And they treated him like a bitch, like they're supposed to. And like all hoes, nobody wanted to be known for being around the hoe once the shit was over with. Once it was over with, nobody wanted to know that they was around this dude. This dude wasn't invited up. The only place he went on was Bernard Riley, maybe Little Big Nate, whose channel's gone now, and Reg the Bad Guy, where he complained about everything that went wrong. You can't claim all this success shit if I don't know, man. It's like, bro, it's hard to take this dude seriously, man.
Oh, man. I'm just saying, man. Like, I'm just saying, dude. It's the.
Here's the thing, man. I don't even like these motherfuckers, but I still, if they would have reached out, I was like, look, man, this is what you do. This is how you set this shit up. What are you actually trying to do? And I would be like, hey, man, that shit ain't going to work. It's going to make y'all look crazy. It's going to make us look crazy.
You got to be like Constantine. You can't care. You cannot care, MOT. Just go back to your goddamn bar, man. Go back to your house of mysticism and let them kill themselves off, bro. That's what you got to do, man. You can't save everything. That's what I'm running to do. I'm like, that's why I stopped talking about conservative shit around these people. And I'm like, what? Did they just say that?
No, they're not conservative. They don't. They think that conservatism beginning and end at not liking the outcomes of black people in America. And I'm like, dude, it has nothing to do with conservatism, period. But, if you talk about the relationship issue after that shit, then, yeah, you're going to forever be confused, man.
Conservatism has nothing to do with relationships.
Nothing. You don't see Ben Carson. You never seen any of those black conservatives be fully engaged with the relationship argument as them being a conservative and shit. You never seen the shit. So that's where I'm at, man. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
Hopefully I can bait Brother MOT into having comic book debates. Y'all, please, I would like to start a poll on us to have comic book debates about.
I'll debate you. Depending on what
you already know, bro. I'm ready, bro. I've been studying up. Like, we got some pretty good ones about Sabretooth Web or Wolverine, Magneto versus Charles Xavier, about Genosha. Is it right to go to Genosha, or hell, we should just learn how to doggone work amongst the humans? Like, I got some. Listen, man. I got MOT in the corner, bro. Like,
no, you don't.
The dark side has a point about the anti-equation, or
dark side is right about the anti-life equation.
No, he's not.
No, Magneto in a heartbeat. I mean, like, all the shit you're
going with his thick. That's what I said. See, MOT will naturally go with the side of ooey gooey evil and sick, twisted minded people.
Yeah.
I will help y'all understand logic and fallible reasoning. That's why he's a part of the order of chaos. That's why I have to destroy his kind. So y'all let us know. We actually had to redo the debate of Frank Castle versus Daredevil, which he will play the audio of that beautiful speech versus Frank Castle, who is a walking contradiction, versus
he's not a contradiction. He's a necessary evil when things don't work right. And you know that's
keyword. He's evil.
Not evil.
Motherfucker don't even follow the goddamn rules of the code. So we're gonna have to have this conversation. So y'all let us know. There will be some pretty heavy debates if y'all are comic book fans that we will gladly have for your enjoyment on MOT's channel that y'all can definitely weigh in on. So let us know. I will be debating my heart out to take down this tyrant. All right. So
all right, cool, man. All right, man. I want to thank everybody for coming through, man. You have to understand that there's a lot of words that have been thrown around. Oh, you a hater, and oh, you don't want to see these people succeed, and all this kind of other stuff. That's not the issue of topic and discussion. It is the concept. The concept was supposed to be a conservative meetup, and it morphed into this, and it morphed into that, and every time you asked them about it, it just kept going into other things. And the Black Manosphere itself, because that's what they tried to represent, is more than just the relationship talk with the side of IT and shit. I know the vast majority of these people think that women is the greatest thing that they need to solve in their life, which is wrong and bad, but you need to be able to move past those things. Those people are going to be here forever. They're doing things that they think is going to make them popular and XYZ, and that's why I'm not even messing with that stuff, period. Because there's no way I can be able to leverage that into outcomes that are good. So with that said, on the Man Tomorrow, I want to thank you guys for coming through. Like the video if it's your first time here, and you guys have a really nice day. Peace.